Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio, where we are excited and thrilled to bring you another episode of The Business Show. That's right. We were just here a few minutes ago with an earlier episode. And by the way, don't you just love this graphic? I feel it's like we are so important, the four of us. We're literally coming out of the screen to you. So sit back and relax, because we've got three amazing people backstage, and we are going to be talking all about what you need to grow your business. You have to know your customer. So joining me today for this show is my very dear friend and mentor. He's a man who really helps keep me in check when it comes to all things related to broadcasting. He is a co-founder of ProFit for Teams, and he has extensive experience in the television industry. Let us welcome Mr. Al Cini. Hello, sir. You're on mute.
There we go. Dr. Jacalyn, it's so good to see you, as always. I muted it because I fidget, and the fidgeting is something drives you crazy. So I figured I could fidget while I was muted, and now I'm stopped. So, it's funny. You brought up the show graphic that had all four heads. In a conversation I had with one of our guests, Rich, there we go. He thought we looked like the Avengers. he's got a point. I'm sure he'll want to add a little bit to that. But what's exciting about this conversation today with Roland Friedl is, aside from him being a treasured member of the USA Global TV and Radio audience or family, he's going to help us use the question mark the way it was intended to be used. When most people ask a question, it's with the idea that they already know the answer, and they're just checking to see if the answer they get matches the answer they have in their heads. But the real use of the question mark is, I don't know the answer. I'm asking because I want to learn something, and not because I want to confirm something. And I think that's a key skill if you really want to understand what your customer needs and how to give it to them. And so this should be a fun conversation.
I agree with you. And by the way, I certainly appreciate the presto changeo of the outfit from the last show. People don't know what goes into broadcasting. We've got
a lot going on here
of outfits here. But before we bring out Roland, I want to bring out Richard W. Allen, who is our new special correspondent, and he is going to be joining us on upcoming episodes. So Al, I know the two of you have a long history together, so why don't you do the introduction, please?
Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce Richard Allen, renowned educator and school administrator, and also a business development expert. And he'll be reviewing some of the work that he does for a company that he works for. And he's got great skills in exactly the area we're exploring today, which is how do you find out from your customer what it is they really want or what it is they really need and how to give it to them. So Rich Allen, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be part of your program. It really is. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm excited to listen to Roland and see what he has to say. With his his obsession with customers, and also with something, Al, you and I spoke about before, where businesses focus too much on features and not enough on futures. And I think Roland probably have some discussion about that too. And I'd love to ask him what his perception is on that.
That's a great point. And I'm not sure whether you're Captain America or Iron Man.
So,
I'm just glad that neither of us is Mo, Larry, or Curly. That's really.
Before we bring Roland out, Richard/Rich, can you please give our audience a little bit of background about the work that you do and how you help other people?
Sure. So I was an educator. I started off as a teacher for 10 years and then went into administration, working as a principal, and later in the central office where I was a principal of early college high school. One of my former students started a company called Voice, which is a language interpretation service provider. And it was something that everybody told him couldn't work, but he didn't listen. He continued to study the marketplace, and he studied the space, and created an incredible company, which eventually was merged with a company called Marty. I met Al when I started a TV show called Disrupt Dead TV, and Al is actually our MC and our host for the show. He did a remarkable job. And we spoke to principals and administrators throughout the world, talking about what big problems they wanted to solve and the best approaches to really improving achievement and growth in our schools. And along the way, I picked up other works. I'm a consultant with a company called Life ID, which I think Dr. Jacalyn, you and Al will be interviewing the co-founders of this really remarkable, I would say, invention. This app. It's so I'm happy to be working with them as well. I don't want to. I'm stumbling a little bit there because I don't want to give away the secret sauce or just tease you enough. But Life ID is an amazing company. So
yeah, we are looking forward to that interview, and hopefully you'll be joining us as our special correspondent.
I hope so. Yeah,
sure.
I'm
Thank you,
excited
Richard.
about it. Yep. So.
All right, I'm going to introduce Roland because I've been working with him for a while and I consider him to be a dear friend. So Roland Friedl is one of our team members here at USA Global TV and Radio. He's been with me almost since the beginning when he came on as a guest on a show that I think was called This Is Your Life. And afterwards, I asked him if he would like to join our team. And so he's also been my mentor. We got to meet in person last year in Vienna, which was amazing. When you actually get to hug someone that you've been working with across the screen. And what really impresses me about Roland is he's worked for some of the biggest companies in the world as a business consultant. And he also had a business going. When I first met him, he was on the island of Mallorca and he was running yoga retreats in addition to everything else he was doing. And he just decided after certain things happened or didn't happen, he was hitting the road. He was getting into his RV and he was going to be traveling through Europe. Not many people that I know actually do something like this, and he's still doing it and he's still loving it. He is a recent author. He has 2 books, and we're going to be talking about one of them. I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Red O'Loughlin, who has worked with Roland to help him publish his books. And Roland is someone who really lives outside the box. We'll take a look at his website in a few minutes, but he does his TV show in English and in German. And he is the one who came up with the idea. And he came to me and said, Dr. Jacalyn, we need to bring on people from other parts of the world speaking other languages so we can expand this platform 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I want to thank my dear friend and colleague, Mr. Roland Friedl. We're going to get into the conversation today. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thanks for this amazing introduction. I feel very honored and blessed. Thank you.
Well, it's an absolute privilege. So I'll ask the first question, and then let's go round robin here. For those who are just joining, there's no script. No one knows what anyone's going to say or what anyone's going to ask, and I like it that way. So, Roland, you have a new book. We can see it behind you. It's called The Innovation Edge. Tell us who this book is for and what it's about.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, this book is a summary of trainings I delivered all over the globe in North America, South America, in Asia, and Africa, everywhere, in the Middle East and Europe, for thousands of delegates of big companies. And it's for people who want to really grow their account. And it doesn't matter if it's a large organization or maybe it's a one-man show or one-woman show. It's about learning how you really grow your account. And that's the book about, for people who want to grow their business.
I love that. You're so well trained, short and sweet. Thank you. And by the way, Roland is also one of our producers here. So he actually has been promoted since when we first met and he started here. I'm going to go over to Mr. Cini. What do you have for Roland today, sir?
I read the book. It's great. And I wrote a foreword, I think, for it. And and what impresses me about the book, and I think what feeds into the conversation we're having today, is that if you think you know where your customers are headed, then you're not asking questions. And if you're not asking questions, you're not learning. And if you're not learning, you're not being innovative. So, and that, to me anyway, is if you think you've got something and you believe somebody else ought to have it and you want to push it on them, well, that's selling. But the way you approach the problem is more like learning than selling. Isn't that true, Roland?
100%. You know, I guess around 20, 25 years ago, when internet becomes more popular, the World Wide Web, we had a change from a selling market to a buyer's market. So the prospective, the customer has much more information than the seller most of the time. So it changed differently, absolutely differently. But most companies still don't have it in mind that there was a shift, and they're still trying to sell. They're trying to sell features, but it's all about the customer. It's about what the customer needs. And even more important, what the customer wants. And for me, it's so important that we find out this difference between a want and this want and need. And that's all about learning what the really customer wants. Because I always say, no one starts a company that at the end they can afford a Mercedes-Benz for all their salespeople, or they can afford whatever product they want to buy. Everybody starts a company because they have a goal, they have a business goal, and it's finding out this business goal, where the customer wants to go, and then bridging the gap with filling the need.
That is so important.
Yeah, that is absolutely. Richard, over to you, please.
Yeah. So, you know, I love the idea of the features that, you know, looking at, we too often we become tour guides rather than diagnosticians when we're looking to create something and start a business. And so, well, we have this and we have that. I think of the World War II story where the engineers were looking at all their surviving planes that came back. They were torn up, bullet holes through everything, and they studied to see, you know, how we could fix those planes. And a statistician by the name of Arthur Wold said, "No, you guys got it wrong. You're looking at the data of the survivors. You're not looking at the data of the planes at the bottom of the ocean." So, right. And you look at that, and that's how you fix the planes. And too often we look at models and say, I want to do that. I want to create the same features, but we're not looking at features. We're looking at futures. Now, how do I get those that didn't survive to make a profit from that? You know, I can make something that didn't work for you work and start an entire business, but we're too busy about looking about features rather looking about futures and how things could be better, rather than just be replicating them, making a better mousetrap rather than making one that's actually functional.
100%, Richard. I guess there's a famous quote from Henry Ford. He said, if I would have asked my customers what they want, maybe they tell me faster horses, but I had the idea of constructing a car. And I guess it's our business, as when we run a business or even when we're just in sales, is being curious what the future is, what's coming up in the future, seeing trends and maybe creating trends and maybe starting a trend. And that's why the book is called The Innovation Edge. It's about bringing something new that helps the customer finding more customers. At the end, it's about our business is helping customers finding more customers, no matter what you're selling. If it's coaching, consulting, if it's a product. So it's no matter if it's a product or service. Our job is to help our customers to find more customers and to retain their customers. That's all we do. And for that, we have to be curious. We have to really look what are the trends, what is going on in the world. and so we can have a good conversation with the customer. There's an interesting study out. Customers, thousands of salespeople and managers have been asked, when do you want the seller of a certain delivery company join you? And I said, we want them in the beginning, before we even think about buying something, before we even think that there is a need. We want them in the beginning to give us idea what could help us to be better, to improve, to be more efficient, whatever. So it's I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, Roland, if I could say something, whenever I meet with a hospital or a clinic, this is the first question I ask. The one at first is, how can I be a solutionary for you? But the second question is, I ask them about a Melosa, not a mimosa. That's for afterward. Is it Melosa? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And what do you want the same as? And then I start working. I'm not going to change the same as, but I think what I want to show them is I can give you more of this, and I can get rid of those things that you want less of. Too often times, like I said, we try to just replicate what they already have. Well, they wouldn't come to me if they weren't going to change. They're coming to me because they want to change. And I think good business people look, and good educators look, to say, this doesn't work, so what can work? But we have to ask that good question.
One of the most important, I think there are two most important tasks as a salesperson is, as you said, Rich, asking the right questions is the first one, asking the right question. And the second one, for me, even more important, is knowing exactly where in the selling cycle is your customer, or even the buying center, when more people are jumping around or dancing around in the selling cycle. Where are they? Because most salespeople are too fast in the selling cycle, too fast. They lose the customer because they go too fast into the solution. They go too fast even in the assessment center without knowing what the customer wants. And even many customers, my experience, even don't know the difference between need and wanting. When I ask customer, what do you want? They always tell me what they need, because they're not used to get this question. I give an example. When I ask someone, do you want a car or need a car? Most of them say want, but this is wrong. You need a car. What do you want? You want mobility. So you want mobility. And there are other solutions than buying a car, is hiring a train or walk or run or bicycle. So we have to find out what is the want. Or for example, whatever product it is, it's the want behind the need. And when with this, you go deeper and deeper and deeper with the customer, and you really find out what they want, what they want to achieve. And most salespeople go too fast in the assessment center because they have their product in their mind to sell it. But this is not what's working on the long term. It's about going back, because the only thing that works is being relevant for my customer. Being relevant, and relevant is only when you combine, when you bridge when you find out the gaps in the need assessment, when you can really combine it or come back to their wants, to their business goals, and then you make it emotional for them. Then I can say, okay, you told me you want to increase your coverage in the market, you want to expand your business, you want to be more efficient, you want to cost cutting. Hey, look, this is the gap. How do you want to reach this? And then you don't have to sell anything, because the customer is open to buy. The question is he buying with you or someone else? That's a different question. But it's about finding out what the customer wants. And most salespeople have an idea where the product fits in, but they have no idea about I call it to broaden the agenda, to understand the customer. In which market are you in? What are your challenges? Who are your customers? Who are your competitors? How do you find customers? Why are you losing customers? How is your retention rate? And that's the most important thing. And then we go from there to whatever product it is.
Yeah, thank you for that, both of you. I'd like to just share, as someone who was in sales for my entire career, even I learned a difficult lesson. And so the name of your book is Innovation Edge. There are many times that you could be working with a client who has a need and you have a solution, but their need changes from when you met with them to when you meet with them again. And so you have to go through that process of what's changed since I met with you. Has anything since we talked about it been altered, or, you know, is something else coming up for you? And I didn't do that. And I was calling on a senior level, a C-level executive officer of a consumer products company in New York. And we had spent, my team and I, putting this deck together. At the time, it's 65 slides, which today you can put that in the trash can. And anyway, we went to present it to him. We met with everyone on his team, and he went a completely different direction. He had no interest in what it was we were talking about. And I kept trying to bring it back because we spent the time and the money to do this presentation. And so I learned very quickly, no, you've got to go with the flow of where the executive is going with, where your client is going with, because their needs change. And if you really want to be having a connected strategy where the client is seeing you as a valuable partner that they come back to again and again, it's got to be about them. It's always about them.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Dr. Jacalyn. Oh, go ahead, Roland. Go ahead.
No, and that's why it is so important to be prepared, to know your customer and get all the information that you collect. So what I recommend to my customers is doing a storyboard. Where's the customer coming from? What's the background? How long on their market? Did they change products or something? So what are the key things in the past? Then what's the present situation? What's the return? How is the competitors? How is the market going on? And then are there any future challenges? Are there any future initiatives they want to change to really get to know the customer on a broad agenda, no matter whatever product you're selling, and understand the company as a consultant, even when you're just buying a BMW to the salespeople or toilet paper for the bathroom, doesn't matter. It's all about understanding and getting the whole picture. And my experience is that every manager, every CEO wants to talk about his company or its department. They're so proud of it, what they're doing. They don't want to talk about needs. They want to talk about their goals. And I think as a salesperson, it's my responsibility and my job, and a highly paid job, if I help them reaching their goals, whatever it is.
That's what I'm loving about this conversation, is that so much selling language is aggressive, and we talk about target markets and bagging a deal, and and right off the bat, we're sort of imagining somehow that our customer is a victim of some process that we're the author of. And what we need to be open to is the possibility that at the end of the conversation, what it is we actually sell, we might tell the client, no, what I have is not right for you. You need something else. We need to be open to the possibility that as part of the conversation we're having, that better solution that's out there might not be what we offer at this time. And, I think as soon as you flip the script and you make it more like farming and less like hunting, you create the environment in which a customer might be willing to buy what you have to offer. They might argue with you, say, you know what, I don't think maybe what you have is actually a good fit for what I need. Have you ever seen that, Roland, in your experience working with clients?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I have a nice example. Many years ago, I got 30 years ago, a friend, still a friend of mine. He had a very successful pharmacy shop, actually two. He's making millions on that. And what we did is, I don't know how it's working in the US, but here in Europe, you go to the doctors or medical advice and you get a prescription, and then you go to the pharmacy shop and you get the medication, whatever it is. And that's what all the pharmacy shop do. Easy money, The medical doctors bring you the customer. It's easy money here in Europe. You make a hell of money. And what I told him, and I teach him, and his stuff is, go deeper. So when someone comes in with a prescription, it's summer, okay? But whatever they need, I don't know, if they have a headache or a pain or whatever it is. But it's summertime. I said, oh, by the way, are you going on vacation? Oh, yes. Maybe you need a suntan or you need a cream or whatever. So we just opened and did a lot of cross-selling by just getting to know the customers. Yeah. And everyone can do this. Yeah. It's so easy when what Richard mentioned also is when a customer has a certain need and he calls the company and said, I need a product, I need this, and it's easy to sell it, but this is not selling. This is boring. It's just meeting a demand. For me, it's much more interesting to challenge the client and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And at the end, you make much more business. You have a much more happier client. And this is what grows the account. It's bringing innovation and getting the customer an idea what is possible.
we should spend more time asking questions. I remember my wife and I were in New York. We were walking from our apartment to get a haircut. I was getting a haircut, and I had nothing on me but my cell phone and my wallet. That's it, and no business card or anything. And I saw a man in the park walking his child. The child had an iPad. The kid had to be about 3 years old, and he was on his phone. So I don't really know how this was daddy-daughter time. But I said, I had an aha moment. And I said, may I take a picture? I said, we'll not take a picture of your daughter's face. I just want to take a picture. He said, sure. He didn't ask me why. I took the picture. I showed him what I was going to use. The point.
Richard, you're still with us?
Yeah, it looks like I just got bounced off a little bit here.
No, you're still here.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
So, there we go. So, I'm sorry about that. So, what dawned on me, my aha moment was that in teaching, it's not about us. I would tell my students at Monmouth University, it's not about you. It's about them, and we got to meet them where they are. Just like you said, where are they going? You're going on vacation. We're too busy talking about all the bells and whistles we have, and we forget to obsess about the customer. Meet them where they are. So we know that this 3-year-old is going to be obsessed with technology. Let's teach from the perspective of technology. Then technology isn't bad; it's all they know, right? So.
Yeah,
Richard, I would be more than happy if more school systems and teacher would work like this, to really work with every student on their goals and not what the school is teaching. Yeah, I have a very good friend, same age like me, and we went to a private school, run by some priests, or I don't know, by the Catholic Church anyway. And his father was a famous doctor, and my friend, he was not very good in school. He didn't maths and English. He was no good in German, even in our mother language. So, but he made it to the end because his father was paying money, so he could end. But what I want to tell you is, my friend became a very, very good medical doctor, one of the best. But he never would have a chance if he followed the system, because he didn't have the marks. Because in Austria, when you want to go to the medical university, we have a 1. I guess in the US, you have an A. So, and I think it's so important also for kids in the very early beginning that we really find out what they want. It's not about what they need; it's what they want. And yeah, 100%.
How do you cover that, Roland, in your book, The Innovation Edge?
It's in I don't know the chapter number. It's in a chapter, the buyer's journey. I call it the buyer's journey because it's a buyer's journey. The selling is a buyer's journey, and we call it a decision-making cycle. We know it from psychology. Then when somebody offers you something, you go to 4 psychological steps. So in the beginning, when somebody opens a conversation with you, the first thing is that you justify your status quo. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have a demand or whatever. That's the first thing when they open it. And then it's about overcoming this. And you can overcome this by finding out what the customer wants, not what he needs, what he wants. What I mentioned many times. What's his business goals? What is business goals? And when you have a very good connection, and I think it's also very good feedback about your relationship to the customers. When I know a customer very well, I go even deeper and I say, okay, what's in for you? What's your personal goal in this? Okay, you have business goal, but what's your personal goal? And when you know this, and you can help this person not only reach their business goals, but only their personal goal, then you're the master. And then you have a long-term relationship. You're not just a delivery company delivering something. You have a long-term relationship. So, and then you go from step to step for all this selling cycle, and it's covered in the chapter, the buyer's journey.
Thank you for that question. Something that I'd like to discuss. When you think about Amazon, most people are familiar with Amazon, and I know I buy a lot of things from Amazon. I'm not going to malls. I really apologize once in a while, but I buy things online because it's easy and it's convenient. And what will happen is when I put something in my cart, I'll get something popping up saying, customers like you also purchase this. And I start thinking, you know what? I could use that. I do need some light bulbs that go with the lamp. I do need some batteries that go with whatever it is. And before I know it, I've got 5, 6, 7 things potentially. So Roland, my question for you is thinking about innovation. Many business owners are not interested in being on social media. They don't want to do it. They don't see the value of it. It takes time. It takes money. And yet I'm using it all the time. I'm in the Wharton School of Business Chief Strategy Officer program because I saw it on Instagram. It popped up on Instagram and I became a client. What do you have to say to business owners out there about innovation and embracing social media to help grow their business and get to know their clients?
That's a very good question. You know, I'm actually more and more businesses are coming to social media, but some are really came too late. So somebody are usually certain social media that's out of, for example, Facebook. The youngsters like my kids, they don't use Facebook anymore. They go to TikTok. So there's always a trend. But social media is very, very important because normal advertising is not working anymore. Man, who buys a magazine? Who watches a normal TV show with commercial or listens to radio with commercial breaks or whatever? So it changed totally. And I think that social media is absolutely key. The question is, because when I talk to customers, they say, yeah, I prefer Facebook, or I prefer LinkedIn, or I prefer whatever, TikTok. And I said, that's interesting. How about thinking first, who is your targeted customer and which social media gadgets do they use? First of all, you have to know where your customer jumps around. Is it more on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, or whatever it is? So, and it's the same, you know, they have an idea, okay, social media is cool, and then they jump in without having no idea where your customer is. And then the next step is, how often do you post? What is the best timing and stuff like that? Social media is critical, but it's difficult. It's difficult, and I think there's no strategy on social media. It's 20% strategy, 80% is just learning, posting, and observing your post, how many likes you get, how many interactions you have, so people are writing. But social media is absolutely, it's the future, 100%, and it's coming more and more.
That's you know, I kind of want to point out an awful lot of people that I know that are in sales kind of come from the Moby Dick school of selling. There's one big fish out there, and I'm going to go out and get that one. And Rich, I know it's a mammal, but let's call it a fish just for purposes of argument. There's one big fish out there. I'm going to go out and get that fish. And the whole book is about one fisherman and one fish. That's it. There are plenty of other fish out there. And if you're not doing something in social media, angling to meet new people, if you think that your future is just closing this one deal, then you're focused on something that probably will never land. And I just want to point out, and Roland, I know you cover this in the book. It's about possibilities and opportunities. It's not about definite solutions. It's about dealing with the fact that we're in a gray area here where we don't know who's going to express an interest. So we want to try to reach as many people as we can with what we think is our value proposition.
100%. I mean, I remember back 40 years after university, when I was in marketing and then working for a PR company and doing commercials, you know, there was no internet at the time. And the customers always ask, you know, big players always ask, what the best? Do you make print magazines or newspapers? Is it radio? Is it TV? And we always said, we have no idea. To be honest, we have no this effort. We have no idea. It's a mix. We don't know. Now we have tools, you know. Now we have tools with internet. We can do much more research on customer behavior, but we have no idea. So it's the mix, but now we can really be much more precise where we are shown, because we can really find out every customer. It's so easy to Google everything or ChatGPT or whatever tool you're gonna use, and asking, okay, my target customer is male or female, this age, this background, this income, whatever. And then they find out, okay, I do this when I promote. I always ask AI about my customers. Where do I find them, and which social media tool is the best at what time and what they want to see. 100%.
One of the things about you want to look to see where they might be. But in a lot of companies create their customers. A perfect example is Michelin. They were building these beautiful tires, everybody had them, but they were one-time customer because they lasted so long. People weren't driving. So what did they do? They created the Michelin 5-star restaurant thing, and they created this guide, right, where where the best restaurants were. So people got in their cars and started driving to them. What were they doing? They're wearing out their tires. So what do they need? They needed tires. So they were not just looking for them, but they were creating them. They were creating them out of thin air. Otherwise, it was a one and done. And now they have repeat customers because they're driving to all these restaurants.
You know, that's such a good example. And I just going to give a shout out to the Wharton School of Business, because that is something that we've been talking about in the Chief Strategy Officer program. It's about a connected strategy. It's about predicting what it is that your client needs before they even know that they need it. And I just want to give a shout out to Roland, because I think one of the greatest pieces of business advice that you ever gave me was a number of years ago when I was still doing this, but I wanted to do something else on the side. And you said to me, where does it fit in with your strategy? How's it going to help you grow what you've already built? And I said, you know what? It doesn't fit in anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. But it was one of those dangling carrots. And so that's where I want to bring this all back to one place. When we think about innovation and we think about steps to acquiring and keeping a client/customer, we can't be everything to everyone. And in the business coaching that I do, I'll ask, well, who's your client? Everyone is not your client. Everyone is not your customer. So Roland, what would you say if someone gave you that answer? Everyone's my customer. Everyone's my client.
You know, most entrepreneurs who start from scratch, from the beginning, and ask them, okay, I don't know, especially in the coaching scene, where when I consult some coaches, and I said, okay, who is your target customer? I said, everyone needs it. And then, yeah, but that's not working, because that's not working. You have to really find your target customer and start it with one niche. Especially today, you know, with this, everyone can sell everything on internet, you know. On the other hand, you have more opportunities because there's a larger market. On the other hand, you have more competition. Well, the medal have both sides. So I think it's also important to find a niche and start with a niche and have a clear strategy. And my experience is, the clearer the niche and the clearer the customer that fits in, everything becomes clear. You know exactly your wording. When we talk about copywriting, what is your best wording that they get the audience attention? Where's the best social media that you use? What's the best approach? Whatever it is. So the clearer you are, the more precise you are about your target customer, the easier it is. The easier it is. And then later, when it's working, you can spread, of course, your target clients. Yeah, doesn't matter. But in the beginning, especially today, when you start from scratch, it's also important to be very precise and have a clear strategy, because otherwise you get lost. You get lost up 100%. And that's also my job, you know, as a business consultant, is disrupt somebody's strategy. Before I would say, sometimes people look at me and say, hey, I hired you to help me. Now you're to totally disrupt my strategy, my plan. I said, yeah, it's better I do it before your competitor does it. Because sometimes we're so in love with our product that we forget about the customer. And for me, the worm is always for the fish, not for the fisherman. And most people forget it. It's not the other way around.
Do you think there might be a challenge here between innovation and initiative fatigue, because we are changing so quickly? Think of Tom, was it Friedman who wrote the book, Thank You for Being Late? You know, we're all these innovations coming, and people are just getting tired of this initiative fatigue. So how do you convince them that your innovation is the one of all the things that are being presented? I think that if you can come up with that recipe, you'd be a wonderful salesperson.
I think the most benefit and unfair advantage a salesperson gets is, and because I know from my experience, and I train thousands of people all over the globe, is they don't know the difference between need and want. And if you really go into this want conversation, then you really hit the customer, because then you're relevant. Again, you're only relevant when you know what your customer wants, meaning his or her business goals. And then you're relevant. And that's all about it. That's all about finding out the relevance. May I give you an example? And it's a story. When I was 25, so it's oh my gosh, 37 years ago. Very good friends of mine. They are very famous medical couple in Vienna. They had 2 small kids, and both working like crazy. And the grandma they gave her money and said, "Can you please buy a car and bring our kids into ground schools, kids 6 years old, from the first." That's where we ran around, Dr. Jacalyn, the whole day in Vienna, from the 1st district to the 4th district. So it's about less than a mile, but driving, because there are small roads, it's a 2-mile road. So they gave her money to buy a small car. You know what she ended up with? The most expensive Mercedes-B at the moment. At the time, it was the 600 SEL. You know why? Because she came into every shop as a woman. Okay, 35 years as a woman was a little bit different to buy a car. But everyone, she looked at the car and then they tried to sell the features and settling their needs, you know. And when she went to Mercedes-Benz, a salesperson came to her and said, "Lady," and she said, what do you want? I said, "I'm interested in a car." And I said, "Why? What is your why? Why?" I said, "I have to bring my grandkids in the morning from the home to the school. It's about a 2-mile ride, and then after school back." And the guy said, "Oh, I understand. It's your grandkids. You're driving your grandkids. And I think you love your grandkids. And I think security is important, that everything is safe." I said, "Of course, security is important." So he said, "Okay, come to this model, because everything is protected around." And this is what I mean, is finding out the want and not the need. And then you sell much more, because you have been relevant. And I love this story because it really explains exactly the difference between one. She just wanted a small car, was her want, just to drive, was their need. But her want is safety, bringing my grandkids, which I love, safe from home to school and back. And so she bought the most. She bought the most safety car that he had at the market at the moment, and the money was no issue.
Yeah, that's an excellent example. And it reminds me of the Wolf of Wall Street, when Jordan Belfort has in that role, he's asking people to sell me this pen. And people are, it's a beautiful pen, it's an attractive pen. And somebody just wanted to sign a contract. You need a pen. I need a pen. But would it be nice if it was a certain kind of, it felt this way in your hand? So I think that's a great way to bring this show to a close. So my friends, we have to say au revoir, adios, and au revoir. See you later. Ciao. Whatever ciao for now. But before we do, I want to just thank you all for being here for this episode of The Business Show. Let's start with Roland. What is the best way for someone to purchase your book and or hire you as a business consultant?
Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, for purchasing the book, the best way is to go on Amazon, on Amazon.com, and put in my name, Roland Friedl, and the Innovation Agenda, and you'll find the book. It's available as a paperback and also as an ebook, as a Kindle version. And I'm thinking about it also Audible too, because I know that most men love to listen to books and not reading them anyway. So that's Amazon. Yeah, it's all about meeting your customers' expectations. And yeah, the best way to contact me is sending me an email. It's office@and my name, rolandfriedl.com. This is my so-called main website. And when you scroll down, then you can link to my business website, which is for businesses. It's SBS, Partner Performance Systems. This is SBS, this is Partner Performance System. This is my business website. Then WLR is Wireless Life Rocks, where I coach individuals who want to have the same crazy lifestyle like myself. And Sparing for Men is something different. I do a lot of men's work because I know that men need a lot of support. That's what I'm doing. And yeah, everyone is you can also find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. Yeah, whatever fits for you. So just let me know. And I always say, you don't have to have a problem to contact me. I just love to connect with people. It's all about sharing and caring. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Dr. Jacalyn, you're muted.
Sorry, Rich, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, the best way to reach out, just reach out at my personal email address at rallen60 gmail.com. And Dr. Jacalyn, if I could just say something, if all the people wanted to watch the show and learn, hopefully by the end of today's episode, they know that they needed to listen to Roland speak today.
Yeah, it's
absolutely. That's an excellent point. Thank you. We do have your email address, rallen60, RALLEN60 @gmail.com. And to my dear friend, Mr. Cini, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
The best way to reach me is by email, al@pro-fit4teams.com. And I'm looking to talk to HR people that are focused on talent development, to project managers and corporate division leaders who are looking for a way to change things up in the teams that they manage.
All right. And we also have your website up on the screen, which for our friends who are listening later on an audio platform only, it's pro-fit, FIT, the number 4 teams.com. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being with me today. I really do appreciate it. And I wish you a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all the engagement across all the platforms. If you're not sure where to find us again, go to our YouTube channels. As I've mentioned before, we're at many places, but I really love for everyone to come to our YouTube channels because we get real information from YouTube, and all of our shows are in playlists so that you can find them quite easily. Our channels are USA Global TV and Radio, where we have earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award for over 100,000 subscribers. I think we're at 108,000 right now. And Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, which I think we're at 38,000. We started a couple years later. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, sorry, you can't. No, I'm kidding. You can go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. And I am now aware of the fact that apparently I have 2 LinkedIn accounts, one on Chrome and one on Safari. So I really can't explain it, but one has 60 followers, cry, and the other one has thousands. So follow me on either one. I'm quite happy with that. All right, we are moving on to our next program for the day. Thank you again for being here. I really do appreciate it. And let's give a little salute to our beautiful graphic as we end, and we'll see you again on a future episode.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.